Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Kano Tryharding Modern. Today, we'll be playing Izzet Blitz. Now, I was going to play Jund Death Shadow. I was going to play Jund Death Shadow. And it turns out that just missing one Hex Drinker and a playset of Scourge of the Skyclaves, the only cards I don't have in that deck, just missing $300 worth of cards, so I probably will not be playing any Death Shadow lists anytime soon. Just by the sheer fact that I do not have $300 to drop on those cards. So we're going to play Izzet Blitz today instead. So Blitz is a deck that is incredibly powerful. Every single time that I've played it, I've felt like the deck is super strong and has generally been well positioned in the metagame. And for those of you that don't know what Blitz is, it's kind of like Burn, but it's more of like an Izzet Prowess deck. We play a bunch of creatures with Prowess. Sprite Dragon has Prowess Plus, where the +1/+1 sticks around, and Stormwing Entity is a card that costs a lot less for the low price of casting a spell, and scries when it enters, and also has prowess and flies and hits really hard. And the basic plan of the deck is to play like a whole bunch of prowess threats and cast a whole bunch of spells in a single turn and kill your opponent in like the first 3 or 4 turns of the game. This version happens to maximize on mutagenic growth as well as actually playing gut shots in the main, which tells me that it's leaning to be even more aggressive than Blitz usually is. I don't know if it was the last time I played Blitz or the time before, but I don't think I maxed out on mutagenic growth. So I don't even think I played them. I think I played like Crash Throughs or some other kind of cantrip in their place, and I don't think I played Gut Shot either. Maybe I played Gut Shot, I'm not sure. But this tells me if this is the type of Izzet Blitz deck that's winning, it's telling me that it's getting pressured to try and hit faster, harder. So that something at like the top end of the metagame is, or like the late game portion of the metagame has found a way to probably counter this deck a little bit better than usual. Out of the sideboard, we have a little, instead of being like straight aggressive burn, we have some disruptive spells. We have Spell Pierces as our counter spell of choice out of the sideboard. Just 1 mana counter spells, pretty good in the early stages of the game. We have Vapor Snag versus decks like Jund. Anything that plays creatures that can impede our creatures. We can gain a massive tempo advantage while also causing our opponent to lose life with Vapor Snag. We have Kozilek's Return. Kozilek's Return is important because it sweeps the board of anything that has protection from red. It's an instant. It's just lots of good stuff. Abrade is our creature removal / artifact destruction of choice. Can be useful versus Tron. Alpine Moon versus Tron, basically. As a singleton, we have 2 Dragon's Claws for the burn matchup to help ourselves stay alive. We have some Soul Guide Lanterns in case we need them, versus a graveyard deck, and I think I've rambled enough, so I'll see you guys in the league coming up shortly. Alrighty, round 1, and we'll be on the play. This is actually okay, I think. It's not as fast as possible. We can kind of fetch fake here and pretend we're Jund or something like it. So turn 1, we will probably do nothing, because we're on the play. So we'll play out a Bloodstained Mire or Wooded Foothills. Turn 2, we can play a Sprite Dragon, and turn 3 we can bolt and play Stormwing Entity. It's possible I should have mulliganed, but I feel like with the 2 Fiery Islets we're fine. Alright, opponent is on Tron. We untap, draw Light Up the Stage, play Fiery Islet, play Sprite Dragon, go to combat, attack for 1. Opponent untaps. So it kind of depends on whether they're Eldrazi Tron or not, and it appears they are. They play Walking Ballista on 1. And kill Sprite Dragon. That was a risky move because we play a lot of Phyrexian threats. Phyrexian mana spells. I don't know why I said threats. So play Wooded Foothills. Fetch with Wooded Foothills. Shock Steam Vents. We will Lightning Bolt our opponent. And then cast a Stormwing Entity. Go Scrying. Alright, Mountain to the bottom. I think Mutagenic Growth to the bottom as well. I want to draw a spell that deals damage to my opponent so I can light up the stage pre-combat. Opponent plays a Cavern of Souls, naming Eldrazi. If they have a Thought-Knot Seer, they can take light up the stage here. They play a Mind Stone. Okay. We untap and draw Manamorphose. So cast Manamorphose, Prowess trigger. Add red-blue. Another Stormwing Entity. Yeah, play Stormwing Entity. I could have hard cast Light Up the Stage there, but I don't think that was correct. Lava Dart and Swift Spear. Opponent gives up. They can't beat that. Good to know. Alright, so versus my opponent, I feel like I want a Braids and Vapor Snag and Alpine Moon. Maybe I don't need a Braid, but it's possible that they have Chalice, and we definitely want some way to destroy artifacts. I'm going to cut Burst Lightning, as well as a couple of Mutagenic Growths, and then a Gut Shot and 2 Serum Visions. And I'm going to try it like this. Now, being on the receiving end of a Blitz matchup before, I have actually lost to an opponent that I cast Chalice against. If this hand had a 1-mana threat in it, it'd be amazing. It's possible I should keep this because I'm on the draw and I have 2 Manamorphoses. I think I mulligan, though. This is a turn 3 threat. That's actually really bad. Alright. We'll keep. I gotta put 2 cards back. So I'm gonna put Stormwing Entity, and I think Light Up the Stage. I probably should have kept the opener. But mulliganing is not one of my strongest suits and something I need to learn. It's also important to know on a deck-by-deck basis. And in general, Blitz, I know you want to keep a lot of cards in hand. I am going to just cast Serum Visions here if my opponent does have a Chalice. Wooded Foothills, there's a Soulscar Mage and Soulscar Mage. I'm going to put both of these to the bottom. Pass the turn. I'm going to place an Urza's Mine, probably a Mind Stone. It could be a Ballista. Chalice on 1. Okay. We draw a Sprite Dragon. Play Wooded Foothills, crack, get a Mountain. Sprite Dragon, get in for 1. Okay, opponent untaps. Plays an Eldrazi Temple. Okay, Thought-Knot Seer is quite bad because they can take a Braid. Our best draw for us would be a 1-mana spell, even though it gets countered, just so we could get counters on the Sprite Dragon. They take the other Sprite Dragon, they don't care about the Abrade. That's interesting. Play Wooded Foothills, go to combat, attack for 1, and I am going to just destroy this now to get in for an extra damage here. So opponent takes 2, they untap, they play a map, so they can have Tron this turn. They get an Urza's Tower, they attack us for 4, we go to 13. Crack Wooded Foothills, get a Mountain, because we're holding our other Steam Vents. Untap, we draw Spire Bluff Canal. Yep. Go to combat, hit them for 2. I think our best top deck currently is a Vapor Snag, although it may not be for much longer. Opponent plays Ugin the Ineffable, so they can destroy the Sprite Dragon, and they do. They play a Blast Zone, hit us for 4, we go to 8. We untap and get a Swift Spear, which we can use to kill Ugin, so I guess we'll try that. Attack Ugin. Play a Steam Vents tapped, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays a second Blast Zone, hits us for 4, down to 4. Come on, Vapor Snag. Fiery Islet. We'll play the Islet, sack the Islet. Okay, that's the game. Yeah, I think keeping the opener there was fine, even though we didn't have any threats. It was incredibly powerful, and likely that we were going to draw something. Yep, let's try it like this. I would like to play first. Alright, I will keep this. Yeah, play Wooded Foothills, fetch, shock, cast Swift Spear, go to combat, hit them for 1. Opponent starts Eldrazi Temple into a map. We untap and draw Bloodstained Mire. Cast Serum Visions, Prowess Trigger. We draw a Mountain, Swift Spear, and a Braid. Oh, I don't really want to draw either of these. Like, Swift Spear is not bad, but we have so many lands in hand. I would really rather be drawing something like a Manamorphose. Play a Mountain, Alpine Moon for another Prowess Trigger, and we will name Eldrazi Temple to cut our opponent off of a possible turn 2 Thought-Knot Seer. Also, if their only lands in hand were double Temple, they can no longer cast a Spatial Contortion. They play a Tower, Chalice on 1. Kind of expected that. We draw Vapor Snag. Well, it's not going to be the greatest spell ever cast, but we can Vapor Snag because it gets countered. Then we can cast Stormwing Entity and get more Scries. Stormwing Entity, Manamorphose. I'm going to put both of these on top. Go to combat. Hit my opponent for 2. They go to 4. Or they go to 14, excuse me. Alright. They play a Mind Stone. They can crack map this turn. So we untap. We draw a Manamorphose. Manamorphose. Prowess triggers around. We can go blue, red. Play Stormwing Entity. Go Scrying. Wooded Foothills to the bottom. Vapor Snag to the bottom. Play Fiery Islet. I think I'm going to cycle just in case I do draw a Mutagenic Growth here. Lava Dart. Okay, go to combat. Attack my opponent for 6. Lava Dart is effectively 1 mana. Our entire team gets +1/+1. His opponent cracks Expedition Map. Gets an Urza's Mine. Now if they have an Oblivion Stone or Big Ugin, we're in trouble. 7 mana. All is dust. That counts. Alright. They play a Matter Reshaper. We untap. Draw Sprite Dragon. Play Fiery Islet. Sprite Dragon. Lava Dart. Just to put a counter on Sprite Dragon. Lava Dart. Just to put a counter on Sprite Dragon. Go to combat. Hit them for 3. Okay, opponent goes to 5. They're dead to another Lava Dart. They sack Mind Stone to draw. They have a Spatial Contortion. Alright, well, we're going to have to draw some threats. That is not a threat. That's not really a threat either. Pass the turn. So I think we'll have gotten close, but not close enough. Maybe putting that Abrade to the bottom was incorrect, but I'm not 100% on that. Alright, cast a Light Up the Stage. The fact that I'm not dead yet feels miraculous. Well, we hit Abrade. Pass the turn. If I draw an untapped mana, I can Abrade, Chalice, play Swift Spear, attack, and light up the stage. Chalice on 2. And there's the game. Well, that was very close. I think me making the incorrect decision in round 2 is what caused me to lose, or in game 2 is what caused me to lose that round. But I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright. Round 2 will be on the draw. I think this is a fine hand to keep. If we draw a Gut Shot, this hand is insane. We untap and draw a Mountain. Play Spire Bluff Canal, play Swift Spear. Get in for 1. They go to 19. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand for a Watery Grave tapped. So this could be Esper Control, it could be Mill. It looks like Esper Control. Untap and draw Wooded Foothills. So fetch with Wooded Foothills, get a Mountain, play a Swift Spear, go to combat, attack for 2. No blocks for the opponent. We're going to light up the stage, and they're probably going to counter light up the stage. There's the mana leak. I'm not 100% sure if that was correct. I mean, if it were me, I probably would have counted the Swift Spear, but we were playing like we had light up the stage, so if that's what our opponent wanted to counter, that's what they got. They shock a Godless Shrine, alright. Esper Charm to draw 2 cards. That seems weird. We draw a Stormwing Entity, play a Mountain, go to combat, attack for 2. Not sure why they would sorcery speed that unless they have a Force of Negation here. So Spectacle, light up the stage. 2 lands. Play Stormwing Entity. Go Scrying. Pretty sure Lava Dart is lethal. So Soulscar Mage to the bottom, Lava Dart to the top. Opponent untaps. They could have a Wrath. At which point, probably leaving Soulscar and Stormwing would have been correct, but they play Jace and Brainstorm. And the game's over. Wow. Alright. So versus Control, I think we want Spell Pierces. And I'm going to cut maybe a Mutagenic Growth or 2 and 1 Serum Visions. Try it like this. Alright, we're on the draw. We have no threats. Otherwise, a relatively strong hand. I think I'm going to keep this. Opponent starts Drowned Catacomb tapped. We untap. We draw Manamorphose. Play Bloodstained Mire. Fetch with Bloodstained Mire. Get a Steam Vents untapped. Cast Serum Visions. Kind of want to draw land and a threat. Lightning Bolt to the bottom. We need a Steam Vents. Pass the turn. Well, next turn we can Lava Dart plus light up the stage. Which is not particularly good, but would do the job. Opponent plays a tapped Watery Grave. We untap. Draw Steam Vents. Shock a Steam Vents. Well, I'm gonna Lightning Bolt, I think. Hopefully my opponent is not also playing Spell Pierce. Alright, land and land. Mana problems solved. But we do need some kind of threat. Opponent plays a Hollowed Fountain tapped. We untap. We draw Bloodstained Mire. So play Fiery Islet. Pass the turn. Oh, this would be what's happening to me. Okay, we lose Wooded Foothills forever. Opponent plays an island. Does nothing. We untap. We draw a Stormwing entity. Play Bloodstained Mire. Crack Bloodstained Mire. Get a mountain. Manamorphose. Opponent spell snares Manamorphose. Okay. Pass the turn. I could cast Stormwing Entity, but there's a pretty high chance it gets countered. Next turn, I could Lava Dart my opponent and then just cast Stormwing Entity. Opponent shocks up to 5 mana. That tells me they must have like Esper Charm plus Mana Leak, or Archmage's Charm plus Mana Leak, or something like that. Or Cryptic Spell Snare. We untap and draw Sprite Dragon. So I'm going to go with Lava Dart and cast Stormwing Entity. I guess technically it was correct to tap the Steam Vents and not the Fiery Islet here. Opponent Cryptic commands, so we Spell Pierce Cryptic. They probably have a path, though. They force Spell Pierce. Okay, that makes sense because they're drawing a card off of Cryptic. What did they pitch? Another Cryptic. It's a pretty desperate move, though. I mean, in theory, if this, if we resolve a Sprite Dragon next turn, it's going to be huge. Opponent plays a Mystic Gate. We untap. Draw a Manamorphose. Play Sprite Dragon. Third Cryptic. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent plays Big Teferi. They uptick him. They untap some lands. We draw Lava Dart. Manamorphose. Yeah, we just didn't draw into a threat fast enough. Blue-red. Sack Fiery Islet. Draw a card. Play Wooded Foothills. Actually, this is incorrect. Is it? Maybe it doesn't matter. Fetch with Wooded Foothills. Get a mountain. Play Swift Spear. Go to combat. Attack our opponent. They probably have removal here, but what else can we do, right? So, Mutagenic Growth. Mutagenic Growth. Lava Dart. Lava Dart. Lava Dart. Okay, had a Fatal Push. I mean, in all likelihood, they had removal. We would have drawn the Lava Dart, which would have been lethal, had it resolved both times. Alright, let's try and have a good opener while we're on the play. A hand that opens with Swift Spear or the other one, Soul Scar, is definitely good. I'm going to keep this. If we draw a second land, this hand is awesome. So start Fiery Islet, play Swift Spear, go to combat, hit them for 1. Opponent untaps. They play Polluted Delta. We untap, draw Wooded Foothills, play Wooded Foothills, fetch Wooded Foothills, get a Steam Vents, play Swift Spear, go to combat, attack for 2. I'm just going to leave up Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce gets really good within the next couple of turns here. Opponent starts by fetching up an island and casting Opt. Okay. If we untap and draw a land, we can play Sprite Dragon with Spell Pierce backup. And that would be very punishing. Especially because my opponent would likely have to shock if they didn't fetch a basic. If they were going to cast like Mana Leak or something like that, I should say. We draw Mutagenic Growth. Alright. Go to combat. Attack. Mutagenic Growth. Lava Dart. See, we're dealing 8 damage, and they're going to 15. I could do 3 more damage if I gave up my land. I don't think that's correct. We'll take them to 7. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. Gets an island. They untap. They draw a card. They play a Sunken Ruins. Alright, we'd like a land. Any land will do. Alright, Bloodstained Mire. Play Bloodstained Mire. Sack Bloodstained Mire. Get a mountain. Play Sprite Dragon. And the game is over. Nice! Yeah, Esper Control, not very good versus Blitz, from what I understand. So, I'll see you guys in round 3. Alright, for round 3, we'll be on the draw. I think I'm going to mulligan. This hand is not much better, but it is slightly better because we can light up the stage. Opponent starts Seachrome Coast, Aether Vial. We untap, draw Steam Vents, play Wooded Foothills, pass the turn. Opponent upticking Aether Vial to 1, plays a second Aether Vial, and a Hollowed Fountain tapped. Fetch with Wooded Foothills, let's get a Steam Vents untapped, and I'm going to Lightning Bolt my opponent. We untap, draw Wooded Foothills. Well, we have only one thing we can do this turn, and that's Burst Lightning, then light up the stage. Swift Spear and Stormwing Entity. Let's really hope we draw a Manamorphose next turn. That'd be sick. So opponent untaps. Opponent plays a Watcher for tomorrow. So this is definitely some kind of Blink deck. With like Ephemerates and whatnot. I guess they could have like Ninja of the Deep Hours, but any deck I've ever seen that plays this card, they play some sort of like, it's like Soul Herder, probably. They play a Plains. They vial in a 2-drop. Tidehollow Sculler. Well, they take nothing. Alright. We untap. We draw Stormwing Entity, which is not really what we want to be drawing right now. Play Swift Spear. Play Wooded Foothills. Pass the turn. That's unfortunate. Now, I know what you're going to say, especially if you're Oz in the comments below. Kano, why'd you bolt your opponent on the end of turn 1? It's because I'm dumb. If I had saved the bolt for that turn, I could have played that Stormwing Entity out of exile. Actually, I couldn't have. Tidehollow Sculler would have got it. But I could have killed Tidehollow Sculler. In theory. So, opponent takes up Vials to 2 and 3. They have 3 cards in hand. They go to combat. They attack for 4. No blocks. They go to 11. Okay. On their end step, fetch up a mountain. We untap. We draw Gut Shot. So, cycle Fiery Islet. We get a Soulscar Mage. Go to combat. Attack for 1. They're going to vial in a 3-drop. Skyclave Apparition. Alright, that sucks. So second main will Gutshot our opponent, then cast Stormwing Entity, which thankfully cannot be apparitioned, and does let us manipulate our top deck a bit. I could have tried to Gutshot the Watcher, but I feel like I would be in a bit of trouble if I did that. So Sprite Dragon to the bottom, I think Serum Visions to the top. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They keep 1 vial on 2 and put the other on 3. I've got a feeling like this is an excuse to Ephemerate or Flicker Wisp. Or they want the card under the Watcher. They play another Watcher off of their Aether Vial. That's weird they did that at sorcery speed instead of playing it with mana. That might mean that they have a non-creature spell they want to cast. They play a Sunken Ruins. We untap. We draw Serum Visions. Cast Serum Visions. Stormwing Entity Prowess trigger. We get a second Soulscar Mage. Bottom. I actually think we don't attack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play out both of these Soulscar Mages. And I'm going to hold on to Wooded Foothills like I have a Phyrexian mana spell. I'm going to use to get them. They've seen Gutshot, so they know that we have them. We'll still have 4 mana next turn regardless. I won't thin my deck at all, though. But I did just scry a bunch of stuff to the bottom, I think, so it's probably fine. Alright, opponent vials in a 3-drop. Skyclave Apparition, taking out another Soulscar Mage. That's annoying. They untap. They only have 1 card in hand. They draw a card. They go to combat. They're attacking for 2. Yeah, I still think blocking here is correct. This is definitely a matchup where we're going to bring in Kozilek's Return. Opponent plays Soul Herder. Alright. So opponent gets to flicker Tidehollow Sculler. Oh, they've already seen this. They should know this from our cards revealed that this was our... Oh, no, we drew another one. So they flicker Tidehollow Sculler with the intent of taking another card from us. Except they can't take any more cards from us. Soul Herder goes up to 2. We untap. We draw Wooded Foothills. Play Wooded Foothills. Pass the turn. Problem now, though, is opponent is going to be drawing action spells, and we haven't drawn action spells for a while. They keep their vials where they are. Opponent plays a land tapped. Not sure why they're still really playing out lands at the moment. Alright. Opponent probably going to flicker Tide Hollow again. So fetch with Wooded Foothills. And a mana producing land. Honestly, if we could just hard cast Light Up the Stage and hit like Bolt, we'd be great. The only way that wouldn't work is if my opponent has like Ephemerate in their hand. So, or Flicker Wisp, that would also be bad. Opponent sees Wooded Foothills again. We untap. Play Wooded Foothills. I'm just going to concede. Alright, so versus a creature-based deck with Aether Vials, I feel like I want to Braid, Kozilek's Return, and maybe Vapor Snag. Vapor Snag is not as good when my opponent has Vials. I'll bring in like one Vapor Snag. Let's cut some Serum Visions, like all of them, and I think a couple of Growth. We'll try it like this. Alright, we'll play first. We'll keep. So I'm going to start by playing Bloodstained Mire. I could Gutshot and cast Light Up the Stage immediately, but that seems premature. I can Gutshot and play Stormwing Entity on turn 2, and then on turn 3 I can Lava Dart, Light Up the Stage, and then maybe cast something else even. Opponent starts Mystic Gate, Aether Vial. Crack Bloodstained Mire, get a Steam Vents, tapped. We untap. Draw Fiery Islet. Play Spire Bluff. Gutshot. Stormwing Entity. Go Scrying. Lightning Bolt and Sprite Dragon. Next turn, I want to draw the Sprite Dragon, I think. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Aether Vial ticking up to 1. Opponent shocks Hollowed Fountain. Them starting with Mystic Gate instead of shocking Hollowed Fountain for that Aether Vial tells me they probably drew that Hollowed Fountain. They just ousted us. Second from the top, huh? So we draw a Sprite Dragon. Play a Mountain. Play Sprite Dragon. And I'm going to Lava Dart my opponent. Get a counter on Sprite Dragon. Go to combat. Hit them for 2. So next turn we're drawing Stormwing Entity. So next turn I could Lava Dart, Stormwing Entity, Light Up the Stage, and then Bolt. Opponent also on a double Aether Vial hand this start, ticking both vials up. They play a Reflecting Pool. They have a Skyclave Apparition. Card's very strong. We untap. Draw a Stormwing Entity. Play Fiery Islet. Lava Dart our opponent, sacking a mountain. Play Stormwing Entity. Go Scrying. Manamorphose, Lightning Bolt. Top. And I'm going to Light Up the Stage to give myself a little bit of protection from Tide Hollow Skeller. Okay. Pass the turn. I mean, if all else fails, I could just Bolt Skyclave Apparition and get a 2/2. Opponent untaps. Takes up Aether Vial to 2, and then our other Aether Vial to 3. They play Wall of Omens. Okay, they draw a card. Well, the 2 power, 2 toughness token from Skyclave is not really worth it, so we're just going to wait. Because they played that wall. We untap. We draw a Lava Dart. So start Manamorphose, Prowess Trigger. Add red-blue. Should have added red-red, actually. Play Swift Spear. Go to combat. Attack. If my opponent blocks with Wall of Omens, I'm probably just going to bolt them. Did I say attacks? I meant blocks. Yep. That's fine. Lightning Bolt our opponent. F6, because we have no other things we can do. Opponent goes to 10. And they take 5 and go to 5. I mean, we have lethal if they don't have a blocker for Stormwing Entity or an answer for it. They play a Watcher. Okay. They exile a card out of the top 4 cards of their deck. They untap. They take Aether Vial up to 4. Tells me they probably have, like, Restoration Angel. Well, we're going to find out. Survey says. Moto Lag says. Moto. Moto. Oh, no. Moto? Moto, please. Whoa, what happened? It gave me a game loss? It gave me a round loss. That's not cool. It just crashed and I got a loss. Alright, I'll see you guys in round 4. I don't think we were... like, unless my opponent won the game somehow. Hang on. Maybe I can... Maybe if I, like, view replay or something, I can see exactly how I lost here. Okay, so, for those of you that weren't aware... My game was lagging so hard because my opponent played Inverter of Truth, exiled their whole deck, and played Thassa's Oracle. Not how I expected them to win the game. They actually won. It just lagged so hard it crashed my client, and then I came back with a round loss. So that was what was happening there. See you guys in round 4. Alright, we're on the draw for round 4, and we have a crazy hand if we draw a single land. Opponent reveals Yorion and starts Plains into Vial. So they're probably Yorion taxes. We draw another Swift Spear. Play Swift Spear, get in for 1. Opponent goes down to 19. They untap. Vial on 1. They play a Branch Loft Pathway into Oath of Nissa. Okay, so it's not Yorion taxes. It is probably Cat combo. Oh no, it might still be taxes. They're just playing Oath of Nissa. That's interesting. Another Vial. Okay, we untap. We draw Gut Shot. That is incorrect. I was about to do something very incorrect. We're going to lead on Gut Shot. Prowess Trigger. Spectacle, light up the stage. We hit Manamorphose, Mutagenic Growth. Alright, Mutagenic Growth. Go to combat. Hit our opponent for 6. We really need to hit a land next turn. And I'm kind of hoping my opponent doesn't have a third land for this Skyclave Apparition, because that would be a problem. If we'd hit a land there and were able to play out our other Swift Spear, that would have been great. Like if this Manamorphose was actually just a land. Opponent plays Ghost Quarter. Well, they don't technically have the mana to Skyclave Apparition unless they quarter themselves and have a second Plains. They play Archon of Emeria. Okay. So we untap. We draw a mountain. Play a mountain. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Opponent blocks. We Lava Dart. Okay, we kill the Archon. Play a Soulscar Mage, but we lose out on this Manamorphose, which is... It's kind of a big deal, but it's not an enormous deal. So, Vial on 2, Vial on 3. Opponent plays a Temple Garden tapped. We're going to Vial in a 3-drop. It's Skyclave. They take out Soulscar. Technically has more text when it's on the battlefield than Swift Spear does. We untap. We draw Mutagenic Growth. Play Sprite Dragon. Go to combat. Opponent gives up. That's impressive. Alright, versus my opponent, I'll bring in Kozilek's Return, and a Braid. I don't know about the Vapor Snag. We'll cut 3 Serum Visions and a Mutagenic Growth, and try it like this. Oof. This hand is not strong enough to keep by itself. We're gonna mulligan. This hand is even worse. You know what? It's got lands, so we'll keep it. We'll try not to early bolt this time. Opponent starts Boulder Loft Pathway, Aether Vial. We draw Braid, play Spire Bluff Canal, pass the turn. Well, if this is an Aether Vial dependent hand, opponent will be sad. If they play Thalia, we can still kill her this turn with a Gut Shot. Leonin Arbiter. Alright, I'm going to Bolt Arbiter. We do have a non-zero number of fetch lands, and the odds that my opponent draws some kind of Ghost Quarter Field of Ruin effect for turn 3 is also non-zero. Play Fiery Islet, and honestly, I don't even want to let this tick up. Give them the opportunity to use it. We'll just kill Aether Vial right now. They could Vial in like a Giver of Runes if they're holding one in hand, but they didn't have it. Next turn, we can Gut Shot light up the stage. I would prefer to have like a Swift Spear that we could draw to start that off. Opponent does not have a third land. Draw a mountain. I'm going to cast light up the stage. We get a Stormwing Entity and a land. That'll be useful next turn. Opponent untaps. And they pass. They evidently kept an Aether Vial reliant hand. So play Wooded Foothills. Fetch with Wooded Foothills. Get a mountain. Going to cycle Fiery Islet. Gut Shot my opponent. And play Stormwing Entity. Go Scrying. Soulscar Beach to the bottom, Lightning Bolt to the top. Pass the turn. Next turn we can Spire Bluff Canal, Bolt Stormwing Entity. Okay, we get pathed. Never mind. Get a mountain. Our last mountain. That means if we need mana off a fetch land, that fetch land has to get a Steam Vents. Okay, opponent plays Archon of Emeria. We untap. We draw Mutagenic Growth. Abrade Archon. Play Stormwing Entity. Go Scrying. Stormwing Entity to the bottom. Steam Vents to the bottom. I could have kept Stormwing Entity on top and actually cast it next turn. I was, for some reason, thinking I'd play the land this turn, and that may have been correct, because that would guarantee we'd have a threat next turn. If my opponent has another path, this could turn out very poorly for us. Opponent plays a second Archon of Emeria. We untap. We draw Lava Dart. Go to combat. Attack our opponent. No blocks, so we're going to Lava Dart them for 2 additional damage. Alright, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. So if they play an X1, we can kill it with Lava Dart. So, like, if they played Thalia as an example, and that would probably be worth it. Opponent plays a Maul of the Skyclaves. Alright, it's looking like it's going to be a face race. If they try and stay back on defense, they will get blown out, because of Mutagenic Growth specifically. Alright, opponent hits us for 4, we go to 11. We untap, we draw another Spire Bluff Canal, play it, go to combat, attack, Lava Dart them. So opponent takes 5, goes down to 8, they untap. The only problem I can see here is Archon is basically impervious to most of our removal, and I didn't bring in Vapor Snags. Opponent attacks us for 4, sure. Well, if we draw a Lightning Bolt and they don't have a blocker or removal for Stormwing, they're dead. Opponent has a Flicker Wisp, okay. They're going to flicker a land. Okay, that tells me they probably have a path. Kind of regret using Lava Dart. Maybe I didn't need to there. Alright, I'm going to concede and go to game 3. I'm going to cut a Mutagenic Growth for a Vapor Snag and a Burst Lightning for a Vapor Snag, I think. We'll try it like this. Simply because they do have equipment, meaning that they can suit up their guys to make them larger than Lightning Bolt would be able to remove. And with them being able to Rule of Loss, potentially, it could matter a lot. I'm going to keep this, kind of against my better judgment. Start Bloodstained Mire, pass the turn. We do have a Braid if they have an Aether Vial again, which I don't know how they're drawing Aether Vials in an 80-card deck, because I can barely even draw them in a 60-card deck. Alright, Noble Hierarch. So, fetch with Bloodstained Mire, get a Steam Vents tapped, we untap, draw a Mountain, play Wooded Foothills, pass the turn. We're probably going to go for a Kozilek's Return sweep, unless they play Archon, at which point we'll Abrade it, or Bolt it, depending. Opponent plays a Field of Ruin. They play Leonin Arbiter. So fetch with Wooded Foothills. I'm going to shock Steam Vents because they do have Field. Alright, let's untap. Draw a Stormwing Entity. Play Spire Bluff Canal. I'm going to go for the Kozilek's Return play this turn. Kozilek's Return play this turn. Okay, yeah. I think I said that right. Doubting my own English right now. Opponent untaps. They play a Ghost Quarter. I might just have to go for Bolt on Leonin Arbiter. So they couldn't respond to us. I'm already ignoring this effect. Okay. So we get a Mountain. We get a Mountain. They get nothing because they couldn't pay for it. This just works out extremely in my favor, doesn't it? And we Kozilek's Return and get rid of all of their stuff. Alright, yeah. Yeah, I was pretty sure you can't respond to this. Alright, cool, we got him. See you guys in round 5. Alrighty, round 5, and we will be on the draw. This seems like a pretty decent hand, so we're going to keep. Opponent starts Celestial Colonnade tapped. We draw Manamorphose. Play Bloodstained Mire. Fetch. Shock a Steam Vents, and we'll play Soulscar Mage. Pass the turn. Opponent starts with an Opt, which tells me that my hand is probably going to be pretty effective versus, you know, the control hand that starts without playing, you know, second land holding up removal and counter. We untap, draw Spire Bluff Canal. They probably have Force of Negation. So I think the correct move here is to go Swift Spear rather than Manamorphose Stormwing. Go to combat. Attack. Mutagenic Growth. Prowess triggers. Opponent Desperation Forces. Then we light up the stage. Alright, pass the turn. Opponent opts again. Yargle opt. Alright, we untap. Opponent misses their land drop again. Play Wooded Foothills. Fetch. Get a mountain. Manamorphose. Prowess triggers. Red, blue. Game's over. Alright. Well, sorry, opponent. But that happens sometimes. Time to bring in the Spell Pierces. And I think I'm going to drop a Mutagenic or two, and then a Serum Visions. We'll try it like this. Alright, well, we'll keep this. Double Spell Pierce is quite strong. When it leads on Snow-Covered Island, we draw Stormwing Entity, lead on Swift Spear, go to combat, attack for 1. We're not going to Mutagenic Growth here. We would like to save that for potentially casting Growth and then casting Stormwing Entity. Opponent leads on Opt. They untap. They play a Snow-Covered Island. We untap, get a Wooded Foothills. Wooded Foothills fetch. Shock Steam Vents. Go to combat. Attack. Mutagenic Growth. Prowess trigger. And I'm going to go with a Lightning Bolt as well. Okay. Hit them for 5. The Aether Gust. So, Spell Pierce the Aether Gust. We hit them for 6 instead. They did not have the Force of Negation, so they're down to 10. They play a Blast Zone. We untap. We draw Gut Shot. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Make that 2. Well, 3 actually, if Gut Shot resolves. Play Stormwing Entity. It's possible I should have just Lava Darted there, because they could have a counterspell, and maybe we get, you know, an opportunity to Spell Pierce next turn if we draw land and keep the Gut Shot, but they're 2 white mana off of a Wrath. Spire Bluff Canal to the bottom. I think we can find a better spell than Gut Shot. Like, if my opponent's answer to Monastery Swiftspear is cracking Blast Zone, Stormwing Entity is probably just going to kill them. So Snapcaster Mage, casting an Opt. Alright. I think this means they're dead. Unless they have double Force of Negation, I think they're dead. We untap, draw Fiery Islet, play Fiery Islet, Lava Dart Snapcaster Mage, and the game is over. We even had Spell Pierce back up. Look at that. Like, I got pretty severely unlucky, and also didn't keep the best hands in, like, 2 of those rounds. And we still 3-2'd. I got a little... Ooh, Giver of Runes. That's worth some number of... tickets, right? 7 tickets. Not bad. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about maxing out on Mutagenic Growths in this deck. I mean, it is powerful. It just makes the deck a little bit more Glass Cannon. I can tell you that after Strixhaven, there's going to be a lot of decks very similar to Blitz, with a new white 1-drop that has basically better than double prowess. That's a 0/1. There's going to be a lot of Kiln Fiend combo, Elemental Shotgun, Blitz decks. So if you're going to be playing in the post-Strixhaven modern metagame, make sure that you account for that, because those decks are going to be very crazy powerful. They're going to do stuff on turn 2 to kill you, because there's like 4 or 5 different ways that deck can actually kill you on turn 2, and a ton more that they can kill you on turn 3 with. So my advice is make sure post-Strixhaven you're packing some hate for low-to-the-ground prowess Kiln Fiend aggro decks, because you're going to see them a lot. And they're already good in this current metagame, and there's nothing particular that stands out to me in Strixhaven that is being released alongside of those cards that is going to be very powerful. So, if those decks become a real problem, if Blitz decks like this become a real problem, if Death Shadow becomes a real problem alongside them, I can tell you that I'm going to play Smallpox Pitch Control, and it's going to absolutely wreck face. But back to this deck. I think this deck is perfectly fine. It's better than I showed off here. I kind of blundered around a lot, and like I said, I didn't keep the best hands several of those matches, and we still 3-2'd. So if I was trying to grind games right now, this is the deck I would be playing, because it wins quick or loses quick. I ran through a whole league in like just under an hour and a half, and that was with some moto hiccups in the middle there. The deck is strong. The particular choices in this list, I'm not 100% on. I don't like going all in on all the Phyrexian mana spells, and I like Gut Shot more than Mutagenic Growth most of the time, because it turns on Light Up the Stage. It also turns on Stormwing Entity without having to have another target on board. Like, Mutagenic Growth is fine if you're casting Mutagenic Growth on turn 2 on Swiftspear, and then you cast Stormwing Entity. But Gut Shot, while it is like 1 less point of damage per cast, the versatility on targeting matters a lot. And I think I only had one hand where that would have mattered, but we either were going to win or lose anyway. So I guess that means it doesn't matter. But I think in more cases, gut shot potentially does matter. Mutagenic growth with a single prowess creature on board is 0 mana for 3 damage, which is fantastic. If you have 2 creatures, it's 0 mana for 4 damage, which is insane. And then if you have like, 3 or more creatures, you've already won. You don't need me to hypothetical this scenario for you. Like, I like the Vapor Snag tech, and by like it, I mean absolutely loathe it, because Vapor Snag is one of the cards that I hate the most. It was one of my first encounters in the game of Magic with a mechanic that I deemed really not fun, because, side story time, Kano, long time ago, when Avacyn Restored just became legal and he just started playing the game, he opened up his first pack of Innistrad because he was like, oh, zombies, that's so cool. Opened up his first pack of Innistrad and opened Grimgrin Corpseborn. And I was like, oh my god, this is sweet. He does so many things. He's 5 mana. He's a mythic rare. He's got to be good, right? So I built a blue-black zombies deck. I had the Grave Crawlers. I had some other much worse zombies. There was a Rooftop Storm in the deck, I'm fairly certain. I had like Diregraph Captains, Havengull Runebinders, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna be playing, 1 drop on turn 1, 2 drops on turn 2, 3 drops on turn 3, all the way up to 6, and it's just gonna be sweet. I had basically no interaction with my opponent at all, and my other friend who was playing the game with me also built a deck that was very similar. And then when M13 came out, he built a deck that I hated because it was Slumbering Dragon, and it just completely crushed aggro. But anyway, that's beside my point. My point was, I played Grimgrin, and my opponent let me have it, and then he Vapor Snagged it like 2 or 3 times in a row. Like, I got to cast him, I sacked the dude to untap him, and then my opponent Vapor Snagged it. And it was just one of the worst feelings I have ever had playing Magic the Gathering. And it was very, very early on in my Magic career, because I was like, yeah, I'm playing a 5-drop. And my opponent's just like, for 1 mana, put it back in your hand. Okay. Like, it's just one of those things. It's one of the parts of those games that I really don't enjoy. And the fact, like, I knew what Unsummon was, and I played Unsummon, and Unsummon felt fair, but for some reason, that extra 1 life loss on top of that Vapor Snag, or on top of the Unsummon effect, was just like blood boiling. it really made me angry for some reason. And then shortly after that, I realized that if I played at FNM, all I was going to play against was Delver. So so I had to deal with Vapor Snag and cut all the bad cards out of my zombie deck and try and build a low to the ground zombie aggro deck, which I don't think worked very well, but it was still fun. And it was fun enough that I still ended up getting into Magic. But Vapor Snag, personally hate the card with a burning passion of 1,000 Desert Suns, because I'm morally opposed. But it's a good card, obviously. It's very good in a strategy like this. Unsummon effects are generally either super underpowered or incredibly, like, tempo gaining, super powerful, depending on what deck you're playing against. If you're Vapor Snagging your opponent's Thragtusk, nothing is happening. In fact, I'm pretty sure you're going to lose that game. If you're Vapor Snagging your opponent's Tarmogoyf or their Dark Confidant or anything like that, you're probably going to win, because those cards don't have Enter the Battlefield effects, and so you're just gaining this huge tempo advantage because your opponent tapped out, and then you made them lose a life, and they lost their creature, and they have to replay it. So it's kind of like a 1 mana Time Walk in the ideal situation. But it's not as powerful, I would say, on average in the modern format as a card like Remand is, because Remand also nets advantage when your opponent is playing Enter the Battlefield effects. But in a deck like this that wants the absolute minimum mana cost possible, that wants a 1 mana answer, even if it's temporary, to a card that's like a 2 mana 4/5 like Tarmogoyf, Vapor Snag is the way to go. Alpine Moon, strangely, I think helped a lot versus the Eldrazi Tron opponent the one game we played it when we named Eldrazi Temple. We ended up getting all his dusted, so maybe I was supposed to name a Tron land, but I don't actually know. A Braid is fine. We enjoyed it as actual creature removal versus the Yorion Taxes deck, it was the Yorion Taxes deck. It being able to destroy artifacts or deal damage to creatures was important. Normally in a deck like this, I would play something like Shatter Spree to help get around Chalice. Because Shatter Spree can always destroy Chalice of the Void, even if they put it, if they have Chalice on 1, Chalice on 2, then it's like, if I have a Braid, crap, I'm basically out of the game, because the only cards left in this deck that I can cast are Light Up the Stage and Stormwing Entity, and probably I'm not casting both of those on the same turn. But a Braid having the utility to remove creatures is nice. It saves kind of our actual burn for our opponent's face. Yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about this deck at the moment. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few have been earlier than that. I've been posting some Binding of Izzet content lately. Nobody's been watching, and that's fine. I don't mind, actually, but I'm doing it because I want to do it. And I want to play something else other than Magic occasionally, so if you want to listen to me ramble in real time and not with a bunch of edits, you can you feel free to watch the Binding of Izzet videos. I'm super bad at the game, but it's a little bit of additional content that I'm making out of something I would be doing anyway. It's not taking the spot of any Magic content or any Magic recording time, so it's just taking up like my personal video game time. So for those of you who are worried about my time management or, Kano, why aren't you playing more Magic? It's nothing against you guys. It's just that's like how I'm using my time right now. And it's nice because I've been actually able to split up some of my recording sessions and do, like, if I'm having a bad league, I can play a quick round of Binding of Izzet, record it, and then get back into playing the league. And it's actually been helpful in terms of the recording process. And we're very close to 1,000 subs. I'm super excited. So please, if you've watched this long and you haven't yet, consider subscribing to the channel. It'd mean the world to me if you did. And yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. You're all wonderful human beings, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye!